All right, what's up and welcome to the Sam Dracula channel, the Charlotte Hornets fan channel. And the draft is still going on, but the Hornets are done. Brandon Miller selected second overall by the Charlotte Hornets. I've been very vocal about my preference with that second overall pick. I've also been pretty vocal about saying that Brandon Miller will be a good pro. It'll be fine. But it still stings. Like Scoot was that guy. Scoot I think is the better prospect from purely a mentality point of view. Scoot is what this team needed. Brandon Miller brings a lot of length, a lot of versatility, playmaking, shooting, defense. If he can come in and play next to LaMelo Ball, that'd be massive. A massive improvement in the short term and definitely long term, Definitely long term if it all plays out over a guy like Terry who's, older, shorter, and not as good at defense, right? Brandon Miller, if he's that dude, the proper running mate to LaMelo Ball, it does make a lot of sense. But it'd be pretty nice to have Scoot Henderson too. So I'm curious to see what year 1 and 2 specifically look like with Brandon Miller. Then we kind of properly project out what he'll be as an NBA player. But he seemed excited to come to Charlotte. He said he spoke positively about LaMelo. He talked shit about MJ yesterday, which is crazy. Said he was old and airballed a free throw. So that was weird. That was really weird. Some talk about Scoot Henderson being the leading favorite running up to the draft, which was probably just positioning. Mitch Kupchak said that Brandon Miller was the guy the entire time. There was some debate internally, of course, but Miller was the preference and Miller was the selection. So welcome to Charlotte, Brandon Miller. I'm happy to have you here. I'm happy to root for you. I'm rooting for you. And we'll see what happens next. Now let's fast forward to the 27th pick in the draft. This is the third year in a row, by the way. The Hornets have taken 2 guys in the first round, right? We got Kai Jones and James Bouknight. Mixed results. Last year, Duren and then Mark Williams. And then now Brandon Miller and Nick Smith Jr., a guy that looked like one of the top 5 guys going into this year's draft at the start of the cycle. He has some inefficiency issues, has some injury issues that just killed his stock. It seems like the Hornets are taking a low risk, high reward, selection here. Nick Smith was an incredible prospect coming out of high school, like the #1 guy in the class, right? Having him come here, the way he broke down emotionally when he was picked, I love that stuff. Tells me he cares and wants to make the most of this opportunity. And it kind of seems like it's like the writing's on the wall for James Bouknight, because this guy seems like a better version of James Bouknight. So I'm happy to have Nick Smith Jr. here in the mix. And hopefully he can bring buckets. I don't expect it right away, right? He seems kind of destined to bounce between Charlotte and Greensboro, similarly to how we've seen the previous first-round picks that come through the last couple of years. I assume we'll see him, going up and down the interstate. But long-term, if it works out, it could be one of the steals of the draft. Like, I'm legitimately excited about Nick Smith being selected with the 27th overall pick. Going into today, Mitch Kupchak said that they had 5 picks, 2 first-rounders, 3 second-rounders. They weren't going to use all of them. And he was right. They traded 2 second-rounders to move up in the second round to take James Nnaji. This dude is massive. First off, he's 18, and he's huge, right? Definitely a project. The Hornets have Mark Williams. They have Nick Richards. They're not going to have more than 2 centers in the rotation. It seems very much that this guy, that Nnaji, is destined to be another two-way guy, maybe bouncing back and forth between Greensboro and Charlotte. I assume he's going to spend a lot of time in Greensboro, but I'm excited to see him in Summer League. Hopefully all these rookies participate in Summer League. I'm very excited for Summer League in general. I love watching Summer League, but I feel like I'm saying Summer League a lot. But Nnaji looks like a hoss, right? I think they said something on the broadcast. I think he's only taken like 2 jumpers in his career, something like that, from outside the paint. Pure-bodied, big man on the block, right? Definitely a project. Picked up basketball later in life, but I'm here for it. Definitely a flyer, definitely a project, but could be useful. Always nice having a guy with a 7'7" wingspan on the roster. All right, then lastly, the real star of the draft, Amari Bailey, with the 41st pick in the draft, point guard from UCLA. This guy was a 5-star recruit coming out of high school and has a very famous mom. I've come to learn on my live stream. Shout out to Shap for mentioning it. Had no idea she went on a date with Drake back in 2021 when he rented out Dodger Stadium. I remember that happening. Didn't know that was bro's mom. Madness. So shouts to Amari Bailey for coming here to Charlotte. Again, another one that's going to probably spend a lot of time in Greensboro figuring things out. You know, he's a Sierra Canyon guy. I assume he knows the other California guys on the team. Could be an easy fit, a good cultural fit here in Charlotte, but definitely a flyer, a guy with a lot of potential. I don't mind the guys. I actually really dig having the guys who were 5-star recruits that maybe underperformed in college, and then, you know, you take them in the second round as a project. You know they have talent. It's kind of working on it, you know, digging in there, figuring out what's going on, and putting them and helping them reach their full potential. And you know what? The Hornets need ball handling, and Bailey can bring that eventually. I don't think it's fair to expect him to do that right away. Maybe he can earn that opportunity later on in the season. I think the only rookies that will see playtime day one, Miller, maybe Nick Smith, like maybe. But I fully expect to see Brandon Miller, which again kind of also makes me wonder what they're going to do with Oubre, with Hayward, with Terry. They have to clear the runway. They backed Brandon Miller over Scoot. Scoot unanimously the better prospect. I don't say unanimously. The majority of people were saying Scoot is the better prospect than Brandon Miller. No one knows what the future holds, right? But knowing what we know going into the draft, people prefer Scoot, myself included. With Miller here, someone who this front office truly backed throughout this whole process, you have to go all in. I hope you go all in. Get rid of Terry. Terry deserves to be on a playoff team. This is not a playoff team, right? Let Oubre go. Just clear out the perimeter. Just clear it out. You got Cody Martin coming back healthy. I would keep Hayward just because this team is really young. They need adults. They can't just get rid of all the vets. Like, this team needs veteran leadership. And I know Hayward has his injury issues, but his expiring contract is really not worth getting involved with unless they can somehow flip the contract for picks or young players or something like that, which is pretty unlikely because I don't know who would trade for Hayward unless like they're truly tanking. Maybe the Washington Wizards. They have no interest in being good right now. Maybe they want to get involved with something. But as of right now, I assume PJ's coming back. Miles Bridges is coming back. The wings and the forwards, like it's going to get crowded. And I think you have to offload Terry and just let Oubre walk. Because if you believe in Brandon Miller, you better like go all in and fully believe in Brandon Miller, right? I'm excited to see it. I think overall, I'd give the entire draft a B+. If they take Scoot second, it's an A. But I'm going B+ for the entire draft, start to finish. I like what they came out with. Some guys that can help right now, and some guys that can maybe help out in the future. And then maybe, the backcourt of dreams with LaMelo and Brandon Miller. Could be interesting. But let me know in the comments what you think. What would you grade the 2023 NBA draft for the Charlotte Hornets? What do you want from free agency? And what do you expect in next season? Because still not feeling very positive about what's going to happen on the court as far as like wins and losses go. I'll be happy to be wrong. But until next time, I've been Sam. You've been great. The draft is come and gone. I love the draft. Stay safe. Peace.